Hey guys, Josh with LynkSpyder. We talked about a couple of days on Facebook. GoPro just announced the Hero 6 Black. We have one, and we're going to do some initial discussions on what we think about the camera. What we're not going to talk about is video recording and audio recording. Now, I know that seems kind of odd that that's what a camera does, but what we're going to talk about now is how does it compare with regard to features with other cameras. So one of you guys, several of you people actually have asked some questions about whether or not it's compatible with the Hero 5 with regard to accessories and things like that. So I will tell you, one of these is the Hero 5 and one of these is the Hero 6. Can you tell a difference? You probably can't. And the reason is you can't is because it's the exact same external case. The only way you can tell a difference is on the side, one of these says Hero 5, one of these says Hero 6. Or if you're like me, your Hero 5 has the side case taken off. We talked about in a previous video on the Hero 5 that in order to use this really in a game environment, you're going to have to take the side cover off because you're going to want to use external power. We use USB batteries, and they work very, very well. And just like the previous design, this was designed to be taken off. So you just pop that off. Now, for you organized people, and really you know who you are, you'll want to put this somewhere where you'll find it again. If you're like me and are not terribly organized, just go ahead and throw this thing in the trash because when you need it, you're never going to find it again. That's just the way it is. However, if you know you're going to use your camera in an underwater environment, swimming pools, stuff between games, stuff like that is really fun. You're going to want to keep this because it is the only way to make it waterproof. And for the life of me, this thing always beats me on getting it back on. But really, you should have no trouble putting it back on. So if you're going to take this off, put it somewhere. Put it in a camera case where you know you're going to find it again. Because it really is a lot of fun doing underwater video between games and things. I say between games because every coach knows you don't swim on game day, right? You don't do that between games. So sorry, coaches, my mistake. In the evenings, go to bed early, eat your bananas, all that stuff. Okay, so the Hero 6, there's a lot to like about this camera. Again, have not shot any video because I'm on the road. I'm not in a place where I can actually shoot this in a game environment. There's a lot of reviews out there right now. If you want to go out on YouTube, there's a lot of stuff that shows these guys side by side and a lot of other cameras. So we're going to be doing that in the future. We're definitely going to be putting it through the test. We're going to be putting it through the heat test. That's my really big tester for any GoPro camera because if your camera shuts down in the middle of a game, then why have it? Because if you need to be able to trust it. So we're definitely going to do that. So let's talk about features. This camera does have a couple of new features, but for really all intents and purposes, it's not a lot different than the Hero 5. So if you're thinking about cameras right now, you sort of need to see about bang for buck. Just like last year when this one came out, the previous series prices go down. It might be a good opportunity to save some money. So immediately when the Hero 6 came out, the Hero 5 dropped $100. It is a great camera. In fact, up until we have tested this and we haven't changed our official recommendation yet, the Hero 5 had been the best camera that GoPro had made. So if you're wanting to save some money up front, now might be a good opportunity to do that. You can still find them in stores, so you're not even talking about buying a refurb unit. Very good camera. For the time being, we're going to push this camera off to the side and just talk about the Hero 6. So right off the bat, one of the things that I like, that I actually didn't think I was going to like, is a digital zoom. It does have zoom capabilities. That has been the complaint with GoPro over the years, is that, hey, I want to use my cameras that have zoom because I want to place the video exactly where I want. So they've done that. Now, they've sort of done it. Obviously, there is no lens that moves in here, so it is a digital zoom. And photo and video guys don't like digital zoom because essentially all you're doing is you're cropping that video. But really, with all GoPro settings, you're cropping the video. They have a standard view. It's a 4K camera. So you have 4K video that you're essentially just zooming in on and digitally cropping. But we have noticed there's a lot of fields that have chain link fence that's very, very small. Fields that have very shallow backstops. You have to use a wider field of view in order to get the whole field. And in those cases, you might get fence in the shot. So what we typically do is we'll shoot wider than what we need, and we'll dump it in on Premiere Pro, and we'll crop it down digitally. It's not a big deal. It just takes a little bit of extra time to do that. With the digital zoom, you won't have to do that. So you'll place it on your fence, You'll set the field of view the way you want, and you just slightly tweak that field of view until you get exactly from base to base. You don't want anything wider than that because it takes the risk of getting stuff in the shot, and it draws the action out closer the more you do that. So I like that. The other thing they've done is the 5 gigahertz wireless. Now, I'm going to say it's good in theory only because I've not done anything, but 5 gigahertz is a faster transfer rate than the 2.4 gigahertz wireless that other previous have had. It's important to note that your smartphone will have to be 5 gigahertz capable, but most new ones are. So that's a good feature. I like that. Now, note with 5 gigahertz that it is a lot faster transmission, but it's at closer range. So if you're going to use your phone for wireless activity, you might still thinking about setting both of these up for the 2.4 gigahertz so that you have a little longer range, because otherwise you're probably dealing with maybe 20, 30 feet. And so if you're in a dugout, then obviously that's not going to work. So wireless, good feature. They have, and you won't be able to see this, you won't be able to probably notice any different, but they used in all the previous cameras, they used an external company to design their processor. They have developed their own processor, and the reason why they say they've done it is because there have always been limitations that they haven't been able to achieve, and they say that this camera is the camera that they've always wanted to make. That's a very easy marketing thing to say, but building your own processors in-house is a good start to that. So, like I said, you won't be able to see a difference. The user interface really appears to be the same, but I suspect that new processor is what allows them to do some of the other new features, which is a faster frame rate. That's, I think, what they're really marketing right now, is that 240 frames per second that you can shoot at 1080p, and 60 frames per second that you can shoot at 4K. Those things sound great up front, but they come with a couple caveats. One, at 240 frames per second at 1080p, which would be great for slow motion stuff, would be perfect for slow motion stuff. I would love that. The problem is, when you set this to 240 frames per second, the only field of view that you get is wide. That's so frustrating. Medium, linear, and narrow, those are the only fields of view that you really ought to be using on a standard field. And I say standard, some of your smaller fields, your small softball fields, obviously your t-ball fields, they're going to have short backstops. You're going to probably want to use wide. But when you start getting into the high school level, and certainly the bigger fields, medium is as narrow as is as wide as you're going to use. So not being able to use those frame rates is pretty frustrating in my opinion. You can do exactly what I said. You can shoot wider, shoot the 240 frames per second, and then crop it digitally on a computer. You can't use the zoom on this because at 240 frames per second, you lose the zoom capability. So really, I believe what GoPro has done is they've tied that zoom and field of view together very, very closely. And so when you can't use certain field of views, you're probably going to lose the zoom as well. Going on to field of views on things that I don't really care for, medium and narrow are gone. They're just gone. You're looking at linear, which doesn't have a fisheye effect. It's a straight effect. Wide and super wide. You're never going to use super wide in the baseball and softball environment, because in addition to being far wider than what you need horizontally, you lose it vertically, or you gain width and vertically as well. Well, you're going to get sky and ground. So I don't think you're ever going to find a purpose in that. You're going to mount it to a catcher's mask, you're going to mount it to an umpire, then that's different, because you're going to want to get that really point of view effect. Super wide is handy, but mounting it on a fence, you're never going to gain anything from super wide. So going back to the field of views, it's a bit frustrating that they've taken those away. However, because field of view is tied so closely to zoom, I suspect what they've done is each range of the zoom is going to equal a narrow to a medium. So if you set to linear, which was somewhere between medium and narrow, I'd say that zoom is probably going to get you. So we will do testing on that. It may not be such a big deal, but we've relied on medium field of view for so many years. To not have it is pretty frustrating. Other than that, the camera, like I said, is very nice. All because the outside case, the cabinet of the camera, is identical to the 5. Every one of these accessories that you have for the 5 are going to fit the same. And this was the one that came with my 6, and this is the 6 in it right now. And this is my 5. Hey, going back to you organized guys, you people that are really particular, it's probably driving you nuts that I put my lens straight down. I'll just go ahead and fix that because we don't want you to leave. So anyhow, this is the 5. It fits in there just nicely. So everything, all of the features all of the accessories that you had before are going to work the same, including the battery. The batteries are interchangeable, so if you have a 5 and you're going to buy a 6, you now have 2 batteries. That's pretty handy. The side case, the side cover is identical. The fittings are the same. It's USB-C. Again, a very fast way to transfer videos through that USB-C. And really, other than that, everything is about the same. They're great little cameras. Supposedly, one thing that I will absolutely be testing, see, I'm even getting confused. I don't know which is which. This is the 6. Supposedly, with that new processor, they have made shake reduction a lot better. Not really a big issue for us because we're going to mount it to a fence, but there always is a little bit of a sort of a harmonic vibration in every fence. And even on a windy day, that fence may move around. Certainly, you know, on netting, it's going to move around. So we're going to play with that shake reduction. We liked it in the Hero 5, so if it's better in the 6, all the more better. So really, in closing, so the first question is LynkSpyder compatible with the Hero 6? It absolutely is. This is the case for my Hero 5. I know that's the case because I broke it some time ago because I'm kind of hard on stuff. It is a rugged environment. We're a rugged company. But that's the LynkSpyder with the Hero 6. We're going to be doing some more testing. We're going to be doing some more playing. But at this point, it looks like a pretty good camera. The Hero 5 was the best of the best. I wouldn't be surprised if the Hero 6 is the best of the best. Stay tuned for more videos and stuff coming up on our blog, on Facebook. If you have more questions, you can contact me at josh@linkspyder.com. Thanks a lot, guys.